But I want to move on to the negativity, and sometimes I can be negative. I admit it. I'm sorry I do it, but I want people to be informed, as I said earlier in the interview. But you said the negativity robs you of your will to fight. Will you please
Yes.
talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wrote a word called Satan's Frequency a while back, and you can become addicted to the doom and gloom. So you have to have a fine balance that when you're getting truth throughout the day, and it may be negative truth like what we're seeing right now, you need to saturate yourself on the other side of your day, or whatever the case may be, with positive stuff. Whether it's just going to YouTube, watching positive videos with dogs, or playing whatever you enjoy in life. Reading the Word of God, worshiping. Whatever the case may be. You need to have a balance. Saturate yourself with as much good news as you do bad news, so that you have this balance per se. Now, one of the things is that they're broadcasting in this frequency right now, this bad news a lot of times, and studies have shown that it creates this frequency that they're bombarding us with. It creates fear, paranoia, panic. It will damage your body organs. It will make you sick. It will literally change your DNA, Greg. Studies have shown this. And so what happens is the Lord showed me that the sign will be basically that when you give someone good news and they can't receive it, that's how a sign that shows you that your DNA has been handed over to the enemy. Now, we can change that. You can get away from the doom and gloom and go into the good news like Jesus said to preach, and you can change all that around. And again, only saturate yourself with a minute amount of truth throughout the day. The rest of it needs to be positive stuff coming in so that you can hear the voice of God correctly, because if you get tapped into Satan's frequency, you think you're hearing God's voice, but you're not, because all you're hearing is the doom and gloom. Actually, that's all you can perceive right now. But what happens is it is designed to do a couple of things. One, to rob you of hope. When they rob you of hope, it robs you of the will to fight. And that's the enemy's design. And you get these comments all the time on your YouTube channel where people they write in and they say, oh, these guys are never going to jail. Who you're trying to kid? Well, congratulations, folks. You just fell prey to the psychological warfare, period. You have now been indoctrinated into their system. They have robbed you of hope. You have given up the fight, which is exactly where the enemy wants you to be. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to lay down your weapons of warfare. We are to occupy till he comes. We are to fight no matter what. And we will win this war. We will be victorious. It doesn't matter what we perceive through our mind. You can't live in your intellect. You got to live in the spirit. So it is time to get in the fight, and don't be so negative, so to speak, with the doom and gloom. You've got to saturate yourself with as much good news as you do the bad news, even though the bad news may be truth, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I want to move on to your back to the rescue mission that you were talking about.
Right.
This one involves because you told me about this in the pre interview. This involves the Catholic religion and actually the Pope. I'm a
Correct.
former Catholic, and the pedophile priest thing and how they handle that.
Right.
I'm still a Christian, but I'm not a Catholic. And I have a lot of Catholic friends. I like Catholics. I just don't like the top management. This Pope has gotten a lot of criticism from inside the Catholic Church.
Right.
Catholics have been more critical of Pope Francis than anybody else,
Right.
because he says things that aren't in the Bible. I
Right.
mean, they're not wrong because I think they're wrong. They're wrong because I can read the Bible. I can read.
Right.
I can read what Jesus said, and so it's he's supposed to be the vicar of Christ, but he's like the vicar of Satan.
Right.
I'm sorry to say that, but you have a prophecy about Rome, about
Yes,
the
correct.
Vatican. Let's hear it.
I wrote it January 25th, 2018, and it's called All Roads Lead to Rome. And it says, the Spirit of God says, the Pope and the Vatican. That's right, the Pope and the Vatican are not furthering my kingdom, but are aiding the kingdom of darkness. Many are saying that this is the last Pope, but it's not for reasons they think. This will be the last Pope for what I, the Lord God, am about to do. I will expose this Pope and all those under his command for all the corruption he and the Vatican have been involved in for centuries. The Spirit of God says there is a shaking and a quaking coming to this Pope and the Vatican, for I will split the Vatican and its leadership wide open for the entire world to see the inner workings of this ancient beast. This Pope, the Vatican, and all its leadership will come crumbling down. I will pull back the veil to show how deep and dark the deception has been. You whisper in your inner chambers, we answer to no one. No one is above us. No one can hold us accountable. I, the Lord God, see it all, and the time has come when I will now hold you accountable for your darkness. This exposure will be of such magnitude that the people will say, what do we do now? Where do we go now? We want nothing to do with this. We have no religion now. Millions will walk away from their religion, as this will affect other religions as well. The Spirit of God says, is my army ready? Are you ready to receive these people? Are you ready to receive my harvest that is going to take place from this exposure? Prepare yourselves for the tsunami of people that will be starving for me and have no place to turn. Prepare now. All roads lead to Rome. The Spirit of God says there is a dig, an archaeological find that is coming in an underground vault, which will be so cataclysmic that it will rock the Christian world. The answer lies between Jerusalem and Vatican City. Now, this is what I want to explain to people, Greg. This is not an attack on the Catholic religion. This is not an attack on Catholics, period. If you'll notice in this word, he says this will affect other religions as well. This is an exposure that's coming of what the Vatican has been behind for centuries. I'm talking centuries. This is going to go back. This is going to boggle the mind. Look at what God is exposing here. He says there's an archaeological find that's coming. I believe this archaeological find is going to be multiple levels. Now, some people have said it might be the Ark of the Covenant. It could be relics. I personally think, and what I sense, now I'm not prophesying this, but what I sense is that it could be scrolls. It could be manuscripts. You'll find out that this is where the denomination thing came from, that they're behind all this to keep man divided. This is not just going to affect Catholics. This is going to affect Baptists, Methodists, Assemblies of God. I don't care who they are. This is going to affect everyone. This is going to be, God is performing a rescue mission right now. And so this is not an attack on Catholics. This is a rescue mission to say, hey, this is what these guys have been into. This is what they've been behind for centuries. And now the truth is going to come out. And it's going to set people free, basically, because they have been trying to control and manipulate the people through religion, whatever the case may be, through money, influence, power, all this stuff. And God's going to pull the veil back, and he's going to expose all of this because he's trying to rescue his people. He wants as many people as he can get into his kingdom. So this is not just about the Catholics. I want people to understand that. This is about this is different religions as well. You're going to see all kinds of stuff come out of this.
This video belongs to lordsprophecy.com. Please visit our website for more update. lordsprophecy.com. Spelling LORDS prophecy.com. Thanks for your support.
And wrap it up here. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell people about what's coming on? When you tell people to buckle their seatbelts, I know they have the executive order. It's real. I think I held this up to you December 21st, 2017. Right. On that executive order, they named 11 people. Now this list of assets that they're going to go after is, and I wrote this in my note. This is as of a week or so ago. 1,100 pages of airplanes, businesses, people. It's just really unbelievable what they're doing, what they're taking down. This is a mammoth job. This is global.
It's global.
And I think the big enchilada is what happened with the Clinton Foundation. What happened with this phony Iran deal with no signatures and 150 billion supposedly that was up for grabs. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a phenomenal time we live in. Give us your thoughts on what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're getting from God.
Well, I mean, you're going to see some stuff take place we've never seen in the history of mankind. That's why I tell people they just need to strap in. This is going to be a while. We may see a huge reset in the stock market. I don't know. It may have to come to that in order to reset things, But the main thing is God's hand is upon this thing. And whatever happens, it's not going to last long. If we have a reset on the stock market, it's not going to last long. It'll bounce back. So the main thing is don't walk in fear right now. You got to feed that faith dog that fights that fear dog every day, like that Indian chief talked about. And so it's like we've got to saturate ourselves with faith, with positive stuff. Even though we need to know the truth, just be careful how much you're letting in right now at one time. And, ask the Lord to help you to digest this and keep it in perspective so that you don't get off of his frequency, heaven's frequency, and onto Satan's frequency. But whatever we see or perceive in the natural, don't give up the fight. Don't give in to the enemy making you think that, hey, we cannot win this. Guys, we had the biggest victory November 8th we've ever had in this country, as far as I'm concerned. And that was Donald Trump becoming president, setting back the New World Order. Way back. I think it's longer than 25 to 30 years period, because when they start arresting these people, there's no telling how long it's going to devastate the New World Order at this point. But that's the main thing. Stay in the fight, keep up the hope, and because the hope gives you the will to fight. And so feed yourself that good stuff.
I think some of the departures were good news, actually. I actually said
Yes.
that maybe. I said McMaster's being gone. I think they learned all they could from him.
Right.
Tillerson, if he wasn't doing the right thing, get out of the way.
Gone. Get rid of him.
Do you think anything's going to happen to Donald Trump? Are they going to get him?
No, absolutely not. He's in for a second term. He's going to be president for a second term. God has put him in there. He's anointed and appointed Donald Trump for such a time as this. And you're seeing everything that God is wanting done right now. He's doing it through Donald Trump and this administration right now. We've got the midterms coming up, so we need to be praying for the midterms that this voter fraud thing gets taken care of.
Yes, I want to talk about. Are they going to stop that?
Yeah. I pray they do, because they got to get a handle on this voter fraud. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. You just saw this election up there, this last election in Pennsylvania, wherever it was. Here they were confiscating the machines again. We've got to get rid of the machines for right now until they come up with another system that's unhackable. They need to go back to paper ballots, right now at this point. So
you think that Donald Trump he's going to be in there, and his agenda is going to move forward because it's God's agenda.
Yes, yeah, it's heaven's agenda. Period. I mean, he's going to be in there for 2 terms. Again, this is heaven's agenda right now, so that the gospel can go throughout all the earth, and because we've got this massive harvest that's waiting on us right now. I just read that prophetic word. That's showing you right there, this massive harvest that's coming right now, and we've got to be prepared for it. And it takes time. It takes honestly, it takes money, manpower, food, clothing, whatever the case may be, to get some of these people in.
You think that a lot of these players are going to? I think there's so many people going to go to jail. I can't fathom it. And I mean, Hillary Clinton could have done this on her own. I mean, there were major people. I mean, list. We had Kevin Shipp on, the former CIA officer, and he named names, and it was all the biggies, all the top people in the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, all the way up to Obama himself knew about all this stuff. You think that big people are going to go down, including?
Oh, yes.
I think you've said that you think Obama is going to ultimately go down with all this.
Yes, absolutely. And so, I mean, you'll see him go to jail. You'll see Hillary Clinton go to jail.
You think Obama's going to go to jail after all this?
Yeah, well, I wrote a prophetic word in 2015. Time is up for those who are corrupt. I wrote it while the man was still in office that God gave me, that said that he would be ripped and stripped of the title of presidency. Now, there's only one way to do that. Some people thought that was impeachment. That's not what that meant. That meant that after he was out of office, he would be charged with treason and he would go to jail. That's the only way you can rip and strip the presidency from someone.
His Justice Department erased 500,000 names off the background checks of fugitives, which meant they could buy guns.
Right.
I mean, that's the Obama Justice Department erased the names of 500,000 fugitives so they could buy guns. They were no longer in the background check. I mean, that's not 40 or 50 people that he decided that, we're not good. I mean,
and people have to understand too, Greg, is that there's arrests that are going on right now. We're just not hearing about it. They're low-level arrests right now. What are they? I don't know what they're up to as far as pedophilia goes. I mean, I don't know how many of those guys they've arrested, but you're seeing a lot of these low-level arrests going on right now, and the rumblings, and they're starting at the bottom of the pyramid and working their way up is what they're doing. Because the last thing we need is one of these guys walking on a technicality, because justice needs to be served. The people need to see divine justice served, and they will see it. It's coming. They just have to be patient.
And what about this? They even have in California, they even gave an illegal alien attorney a job at the state level.
I just read that. Yeah.
I just never. What? That's just what?
Yeah. This is the kind of thing right here that God's going to take care of at some point. He's already taken care of it. I know California's trying to do all kinds of stuff, and again, we need to be praying for California, Florida, and Texas, because those 3 states they're under direct assault right now. And I live in Florida, and they're trying to bring in like 500,000 to 1 million Puerto Ricans on a humanitarian effort from the hurricane. I know better than that. That's not what that's going on, folks. They're bringing them in here to get their votes. So it's all about the votes right now. They're trying to lock these 3 states up where they can get a lockdown for the Democrats or the liberal agenda. So we need to be praying for these 3 states right now, because they are under direct assault right now.
Mark Taylor, the co-author of the Trump Prophecies. Here's the book. It's sold a lot. I'll put a link up for the book. It's a fascinating book. All the prophecies, by the way, I want to tell you so you don't have to say it, Mark, that they're free. They're on your sword. Tell me where the prophecy is. Sword.com. Is that what it is? S-O-R-D?
SORD Rescue, swordrescue.com. They can go to the prophetic words tab and they can download them for free. They've always been on there for free. They always will be.
And I'll put the tab in there for you because that's also a business website as well. You don't really have one for your actual book, but I'll also put a tab to buy the book too. It's a fascinating backstory about you being a firefighter in Orlando, and it's like you were in like Mogadishu for 20 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. The backstory and all the story about the prophecies and how they came to pass and all that.
Thank you for having me, brother. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be here.